YouTube, Joseph Vollmer here, and the other night I shot the review on my Harbor Freight blast cabinet here. Today I'm going to do a little bit of maintenance on it because, as I mentioned in that review, I think the grit, the blasting media in there is getting a little bit worn down. So while I was out and about today, I picked up another 50-pound pail of the 80 grit garnet abrasive for this cabinet. But before I dump the garnet abrasive in there, I'm going to show you how to do a little bit of maintenance on it. And this is something that you're going to run into anytime, especially you're blasting something with loose paint on it, where the paint is coming off in flakes, or anything of that nature, where you're ending up with possibly bigger chunks in your blasting media, because the screen that's in the bottom of the blast cabinet, that everything sits on, is still like a 1x1 screen, so there's some pretty good sized chunks that can get through there. And if they do get through there, what will happen is they will actually drop down in the bottom, and they can plug up the siphon tube for the blaster. They get in there and they plug it up. It's not a big deal. You can blow them back out. So basically, if you've got a blast cabinet, you probably have most of the stuff you're going to need to do the maintenance on it around the garage. So the first thing I've got is this bucket, and you can use any size bucket. Doesn't matter. The bigger the better, but it needs to be able to fit underneath the clean out on the bottom of the cabinet. This piece down here that I'm pointing to, you need to be able to slide it down below that clean out and still open the clean out into the bucket. Because what we're going to do, and I don't know how well you can see this, how well it's going to show up, but I've got a piece of old scrap window screen that I saved, and I got some bungee cords attaching it to the top of this bucket. Now, that's a clean, dry bucket. And what I'm going to do is all the media that comes out of the cabinet, I'm going to run through the screen. That way I can get the bigger chunks out of it and put the good media that's still in the cabinet back in the cabinet. That way I'm not throwing away media that is still useful. And then I'm going to add another 50 pounds to it, and hopefully that will help with some of the issues that I've had with it getting back down and feeding the siphon. There'll be more in there, so it'll want to cave in upon itself more. Now, this cabinet where I've got it sitting, I'm going to have to slide it out some before I can get started. So I'm going to slide it out, and I'm going to reposition the camera so you have a better view of what I'm doing. While I'm doing that, please do me a favor. Click the subscribe button if you haven't already. Don't forget when it's over. My air compressor just kicked on, so hopefully you can still hear me. Don't forget when it's over to please rate the video. Do me a favor, I'm going to stick a link in the description. Check out the GoFundMe that I set up for Camp Hope. Camp Hope is a 401c3 charitable organization, so any donations you make to them are tax deductible. They help our disabled veterans. So please, I'll put a link in the description to their website. I'll put a link in the description to GoFundMe. Any funds raised go directly to Camp Hope. I don't touch any of them. GoFundMe sends them directly to Camp Hope. So if you would help me to raise some money for them, I would greatly appreciate it. You guys, give me just a second, check that stuff out. I'm going to get this set up, and be right back. First thing I'm going to do, and it's going to get a little bit loud, I'm going to try and bring the camera in here in just a second and show you. I've got my blowgun set up on my air hose. I've got my shop vac back here set up on the dust collection port for the cabinet. I'm going to open the cabinet up, get the air hose in there, close it as much as I can, which I'm not going to be able to shut it all the way, but I want to blow as much of the loose media down into the bottom as I can so I can get it out. And if there's any bigger chunks up here in the top, I want to blow them down in the bottom so that when I open it up to drain the media, it all comes out together. And I'm going to have the vacuum on to suck any of the dust that I'm generating when I'm blowing the media around out, as opposed to it coming out in my face and breathing it, because you don't want to breathe that dust. So if you're not able to do that, make sure you're wearing a respirator when you're messing with this stuff, because this dust is some nasty stuff. You don't want to inhale that and get that in your lungs. You won't get it back out easily. So I'm going to jump right into this, and we're just going to open the cabinet up, and I'm going to kick on the vacuum so it's going to get loud. Okay guys, I'm gonna bring you up here so you can see what I did. I'm gonna open the cabinet, and you can see back here in that corner, I moved the glove back there in that corner, down here in the corner here in the front, you do get some media buildup. Now you can see how most of it's back down there in the bottom. So I got most of that out, blown back down. Then I'll take my bucket with my screen in here. Shut that off for a second so we can listen to that. Yes. I'm going to slide it right underneath of the outlet for the tank. We're going to very gently start releasing the sand. Alright guys, I forgot how dusty this was. This is where I really should be wearing a respirator. But right now, I'm going to have to pull my shirt over my mouth because I forgot to grab one and I can't shut the door. There's a big piece of, heaven only knows where the hell that come from. I'm going to slide that back just a little bit. I'm just going to tap on the sides of the cabinet to try and funnel down the rest of anything that's in there. Okay. There's a chunk of something. See that? There. Alright, this is where having a piece of window screen bigger than the bucket would really help, but this is working all the same. I got most of the loose stuff out of there. I'm going to show you. This is what the screen actually caught. All that flaked paint and heaven only knows what other crap was in. There's chunks of rust in there. That was all in that blast media, and you can see there's some that made it through the screen. Most of the stuff that's small enough to go through that window screen, if it'll make it through the window screen, then it'll be small enough to go through the blast gun and not plug it up, not give you any trouble. So I don't worry too much about that. But all the stuff that's sitting on top of the window screen, that's the stuff that I wanted to catch. Now we're going to take another look down the cabinet, and you can see, you know, there's very, very little media at all left down in there, which is a good thing. That means we got most of it up and out of the cabinet. And I don't think there's anything plugged into that siphon hose. But what I'm going to do, and I'll back out here so you can kind of watch. I'll get this up. I'm going to take my siphon hose. Do that over the cabinet. We're going to unscrew the end of it, set it down, and I'm going to try and get in there with the blow gun, and I'll push some air back down through that siphon hose. Yeah, that sucker's leaking all there. Somebody come loose. Alright. I'll push some air down through the siphon hose. Okay. Until the hose is clear, I got some media fell out the bottom, but the hose is clear, which is a good thing, because I know, whoop, if the hose is clear, then I don't have anything plugged up in it. Now, real quick, I'm going to take my shop vac. I'm going to suck all that stuff off the top. Okay, and this is what happens right here. That's what happens when you get moisture in the air lines. The blast media will start to cake up inside the nozzle. Well, that was happening to me the other night when I was shooting a review. I was having problems with it caking up in the nozzle as my air compressor. As apparently I was running it so much that the moisture was making it out through the compressor. So we're going to put the gun back together. That's done. We've got the floor cleaned up. We've cleaned all the stuff off the top of the container. I'm going to shut the bottom lid here and make sure it's latched good and tight. Then I'll take my screen off from my bucket. We're going to take this bucket. There's a loose piece of screen wire I got in there. We'll take the bucket, we're going to turn our dust collector back on. Once I turn the dust collector back on, I'm going to dump this bucket and the new media into the cabinet. But I just wanted to tell you that before I turn the collector on. So here we go. Then we're going to dump that in. Alright. We'll save that back. Now, I've done both those in there. You can see how much more media there is in the cabinet now, how much more full it is, which should help a lot with the siphoning. I won't have to shake on the cabinet, although the cabinet's going to weigh about another 50 pounds now. I showed you that's basically the easiest way, maintenance-wise, to keep up your blast cabinet. You want to add more media to it, or you're having issues with it, screen the media that's in there. And it hasn't been long since the last time I screened that media. I've probably used this cabinet 3 or 4 times since the last time I screened it. And you could see that there was definitely some definitely some chunks, and I'm sure that was from, most of those look like they were from the video that I shot the other night, blasting those valve covers in an oil pan. So that's all there is to maintaining this thing. You know, really I need to get a dryer on my air compressor. I need a bigger air compressor too, but that's beyond the point. It will work with that smaller air compressor. It does an alright job. It's a little slow. I do need a dryer though. But anyway, that's all there is to maintaining the cabinet. So do me a favor, like I said before, please click the subscribe button. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section. I'd be happy to answer them. Do me a favor, rate the video when it's all over with. So hopefully you guys are liking it. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget, get out there and get your hands dirty. You might have a little fun doing it.